I would like to talk a little bit more about virtual and 3D models in complex spine surgery for a change. Some things have been told already, some things haven't. I'm sure it's been an interesting journey for me as a spine surgeon specializing in complex spinal tumors. We do perform fairly crazy operations, obviously as a team of specialists from various areas. But this is one of the examples of a lady with a large retroperitoneal tumor involving spine, where we needed to mobilize her viscera, kidney, spleen, open her chest, divide the diaphragm, and take the tumor out. We do separation cases where we need to open the chest cavity, sometimes use non-standard carbon fiber implants, reconstruct the spine 360, seeing the posterior construct from the front with all the viscera and organs floating around. And also in spinal deformity surgery, there are spatial challenges that I will talk about a little bit later, and block resections or even transoral, transnasal approaches. They are all fairly challenging from the anatomical point of view. Hence the idea of using aids and tools to speed the process of gaining experience up. And it's not a new concept. It's been around for quite some time now. The virtual reality, training in virtual reality environment has been proven with level 2 evidence being beneficial for training fellow surgeons with the use of fairly primitive at the time technology. They were able to gain experience and technical ability to perform complex tasks in the laparoscopic environment in this study much quicker than the peers trained without virtual reality exposure. In terms of the actual need for us training in the virtual reality environment and also using 3D aids, the physical ones, it all comes down to the way our brain works and the types of intelligence that are present. Surprised to find out that there were 10 types of intelligence that we are all equipped with to a various degree. And obviously for us surgeons, there are a few of them that are crucial. And it's the spatial one and bodily kinetics as well that we are expected to hold to a very high standards. What is the spatial intelligence? The spatial intelligence is frankly our ability to transfer 2D images to the visualized three-dimensional picture of the object that we are to work on. In this case, obviously, it's a map, and us being able to visualize it as a three-dimensional mental picture of the mountains that we are going to hike in. But obviously, the same applies to the images. So in summary, the spatial intelligence allows us to orientate ourselves in three-dimensional space based on 2D images. And it is not an easy task, never been. It's basically all about being able to navigate intraoperatively and preoperatively based on a fairly unrealistic, actually, 2D images, like this one. This is a preoperative scan of a lady with an extensive tumor involving her sacrum, spinal canal, obviously, and part of her pelvis with the iliac bone. And visualizing it in the most appropriate way should facilitate appropriate approach and the correct surgical technique. And that's where the spatial intelligence comes into play. And obviously, spatial intelligence is distributed normally within the population. As surgeons, we tend to believe, or we are expected to, or we are normally verified throughout our training and selection process to be the cohort with the spatial intelligence on the right and the spectrum of the normal distribution, normal curve. And again, people who are involved in more complex surgical cases are expected to have spatial intelligence levels developed even further beyond towards the far right end of the normal distribution curve, so beyond the 2 standard deviations. But if we look at this part of the curve, it is also distributed normally. And somebody like me will always try to aim towards the right end of the curve where Bronek is, I'm sure. And what can we do to actually facilitate the process of acquiring or improving the spatial intelligence is the question that has not been answered very well as of yet. However, we know that all of those activities do improve potentially our spatial intelligence. And if you go through the list of those activities, I'm not going to go through each single one of them, because they've got one common denominator. Most of them, if not all, involve practicing with 3-dimensional objects, if not in the real life environment, then in the computer-based one. Hence the idea of working on 3D models, not only to improve our understanding of each particular case, but also to improve our spatial intelligence overall for the sake of future cases. And that's where the visual aids and 3-dimensional as well as the physical ones come into play, like in this case and a few other cases that I'm going to show you in a second. And obviously, it's not just a gimmick. There is a good evidence from the presentation, a QR code. Feel free to go down this link, because the presentation overall, this one was very interesting. The enabling technology, including visualization pre and intra-op, has been proven already to improve patients' outcomes, safety, and also improve the financial outcomes of what we do, which may not play a role depending on the system that you work in, but overall it's something worth reflecting on. It is enough to save 7 minutes per case to gain $100,000 operating on 250 cases. So this is probably an average annual load of each of us. And in Australia, it's been proven that to bring the cost of deformity surgery performed with the aid of biomodels, so more expensive than 3D printed models of the type that we use, it's enough to save slightly under 14 minutes of the theater time, and this is based on the governmental data in the public sector. So 14 minutes of saving the time per case, per deformity case, provides cost neutral, which is fairly realistic if you look at the workflow and the complexity of deformity cases. I'm not going to dive into this because it's not the scope of this presentation, but I'm just mentioning it. It's not only beneficial from the safety and the patient experience point of view or surgeon experience point of view, but also financially viable based on the papers that you can find the links to using this QR code that you can see on the screen. In terms of custom-made implants, that's another big realm of knowledge and experience. Very briefly, one exemplary case of C2 chordoma treated with radical resection and 3D printed implant replacing the odontoid peg and vertebral body C3, prepared in a patient-specific custom way based on the 3D model and then implanted successfully. Looks very decent. Obviously, I'm not sure whether the patient has had a local recurrence or not, but in principle, this is something that makes life of both patient and the surgeon much easier, and something that we would normally do routinely, visualizing the vasculature and the bony anatomy to start with the radiologist. But we tend to take this kind of undertaking a little bit further, working with our bioengineers. We are lucky enough to have them on board and working with us very closely on more complex cases. So this is a 3D model of the lady with a complex sacropelvic tumor that we worked on with Emily, our bioengineer, and then 3D printed it as you will see in a second. There are multiple software options available. Many of them are free of charge. We are lucky enough to have Mimics, which is a bit of a standard of care in this a realm of knowledge, science, and clinical practice. But there are many others, and I would recommend anyone who's interested to take a photo of this slide and have a go on them. Each of them comes with its own features and challenges. Many of them are available for free to try. And this 3D printed model, the best part of it was that we had it available in a theater from a get-go. In the morning, we did a team brief with all the theater staff involved in the case, and people were amazed being able to see and understand what we were going to do for the first time in their career. And that was a life-changing experience to me as well, being able to see them engaging more and being able to see them really enthusiastic about obviously long, protracted case with significant blood loss and multiple complexities on the way. And another case, most recent one, lady with a sarcoma, mainly wall of the abdomen and rib involvement. It was really helpful to have it visualized to start with. It involved 3 consecutive transverse processes, hence my involvement, not a major spinal case, but still I took it as an opportunity to develop a decent 3D model. Communicating with an engineer, I left this as a print screen to show you that even using a mobile phone, we can communicate really efficiently and plan what needs to be printed, what can be taken out of the project. And the 3D printed model was then colored by myself in the garden, a bit of a craftsmanship introduced, which allowed me to understand the anatomy of the case much better. It was a great experience. I ended up painting it in many different colors. It doesn't really matter. Tumor is always green. And then the resection, I would say, was fairly straightforward. As you can see, quite extensive. Obviously, the defect was closed by the plastic surgeons. And the specimen on the right-hand side, everything went according to the plan fairly smoothly. And the patient was delighted to see the tumor as well. Took the photos and it was really engaged and understood the magnitude of the operation that she was going through, which helped her to recover. So multiple benefits. There are many 3D printers available out there. Obviously, most of them used in a professional setup are much more expensive than this one from Amazon. And this is the true pricing of the ones that are to be used in professional environment. And obviously, virtual technology, it's been introduced really nicely in the previous talk. So I just glide over this topic. It's been proven to be effective in training and preoperative assessment of the cases. I did have a go multiple times on one of the products available out there, which has been more recently introduced clinically. Experience with virtual reality, again, has got a fairly robust evidence proving its efficiency in providing high-level training and improving outcomes of simulated procedures within the cohort of trainees who have gone through it. And it is coming to theaters. These are illustrations, conceptual illustrations of spinal cases performed with HoloLenses and augmented reality, where you can inject the virtual spinal model onto the patient. But it's actually been done for the first time in the UK, in Glasgow, by the BrainLab team, successfully with the Glasgow team, as you can see, playing with it during the surgery Really, really good stuff. And a bit of an own experience. I know I'm running out of time. It won't be much longer than that. We did have a look into 3D modeling, the usefulness of those in the clinical setup with my two brilliant clinical anatomy students last year. They created 30 models of our M-block resection cases and measured multiple parameters with regards to the usefulness in theaters, inter-rater, intra-rater agreement between also radiology assessment, finding out with a good level of evidence that it's not just a toy tool, it is actually a way of improving experience of both surgeons and patients intra and peri-op, with a fairly good cost to value balance as well. And obviously, they've come up with suggestions for future research that we are looking into at the moment. So how to improve the spatial intelligence? Going through all of those activities and ideally, obviously, as often as possible. But what I would recommend to the younger generation of surgeons, that those two brilliant Miki and Adit are most likely going to be very soon, I suggest them to make their own 3D models of their own cases, as I do. I take this time, spend time in front of the computer, a bit nerdy, I know, but I think we're all kind of on the spectrum to some extent, and study them, ideally with something who's more experienced and more clever than you. And I'm sure we are all able to find a mentor within our environment. Thank you so much.